Basic Middle School, and this is my project for England. For my project, I will be filming 5 authors and why they're significant to English literature. For my first author, I'm going to be doing Charles Dickens. Now, Charles Dickens was born February 7th, 1812 in Portsmouth, England. He died, though, June 9th, 1890. He's buried behind me in Westminster Abbey. Now I am at the area where Charles Dickens' parents were married. They were married at the Strand Church. His father, Charles Dickens' father, was a naval pay officer, which means he paid naval officers and people in the Navy. Charles Dickens was born in Portsmouth, England, but 3 years after he was born in 1812, they moved to London, England, in 1815. Hello, this is Fleet Street, and this is where Charles Dickens worked in the publishing business. Here we are at St. Paul's. This is significant to Charles Dickens because St. Paul's was featured in many of Charles Dickens' books. Charles Dickens is significant because he wrote about unprivileged people and their lives. He was a very good writer, and he was very famous at his time. Hello, today I am in Stratford-upon-Avon, and behind me is the Avon River. Stratford-upon-Avon is the birthplace of William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born April 26, 1564. To some, William Shakespeare is one of the greatest English writers of all time. Some examples of his writing are Romeo and Juliet and Julius Caesar's. The significance of William Shakespeare is that he defined the English language. He made it become what it is today. I am standing on Henley Street. Behind me is William Shakespeare's birth home. People are unsure the exact date of Shakespeare's birth, but they're almost positive that he was born 1564. At the age of 18, William Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway. They soon had one daughter. 7 years later, they moved to London, where Shakespeare began his writing career. Shakespeare's early writing is unknown to many scholars, although after his move to London, he became a very famous playwright and actor. After his successful career in London, Shakespeare moved back to Stratford, where he died at age 52 in 1616. Behind me, he is buried in this church. These are documents of Shakespeare's birth and death. This is where he is resting today. My next author is Jane Austen. She was born December 16, 1775, and died July 18, 1817. She lived most of her life in Bath and Southampton. Southampton is in Hampshire country, where we are now, in Winchester. In front of me is Winchester Cathedral, where Jane Austen is buried. The significance of Jane Austen is that she was a woman writer in a man's world. In her writing, she questioned traditional etiquette. Some examples of her writing are Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility, where she questioned traditional etiquette. An interesting fact about Jane Austen is that she had 8 siblings. In her later years, Jane Austen lived in Winchester. Behind me is Winchester Cathedral, where she is now buried. Let's go see it. Winchester was the birthplace of Jane Austen and her death. Behind me is the house where Jane Austen lived her last days. She died July 18, 1817. Next author, I am doing J.R.R. Tolkien. Currently, I'm in Oxford. Behind me is The Eagle and the Child. Tolkien was a professor in Oxford. He may be best known for the writing of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, which some people say was parts of were written behind me in The Eagle and the Child. Unfortunately, The Eagle and the Child doesn't have its under 18 license in order, so I am unable to go inside. J.R.R. Tolkien was born January 3rd, 1892. He died September 2nd, 1973. Behind me is Magdalen College, where J.R.R. Tolkien was a professor. Tolkien's works, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, are considered some of the greatest fantasy fiction stories ever to be written. Some fun facts about J.R.R. Tolkien are he fought in World War I. He went to Oxford University, and he was an orphan as a child. For my last author, I am going to be doing J.K. Rowling. While J.K. Rowling is not historically significant, she is a famous and well-known author of our time. Rowling is best known for writing the Harry Potter series, some of which was filmed here in Oxford. J.K. Rowling was born July 13, 1965. She was born in Gloucester, England. Today she lives in London. Some fun facts about J.K. Rowling are she has no middle name. Also, she has one sibling, her younger sister, named Di. Her favorite author is Jane Austen. This concludes my literary tour of England. I hope you enjoyed it as much as my father did.
Sort of.